Okay, hello everyone. Today I'm going to share about my deck build for the new Feltyrosa with dress up ability. So we'll go over with how the deck works, what it wants to do. Then we go to the core of the decks, trigger selection, and free slots. So let's get into it. So what's new about the new Feltyrosa is that compared to the old one, now the new Feltyrosa plays her cost in the main phase to gain her calling ghost and plus drive effects. So she can only call up to two rear guards, but it only costs one counterblast. And also she gains the effects of if you have a grade 3 Feltyrosa, doesn't matter which one it is, your front row ghost unit gains plus 10k power. It's a continuous effect, so it pumps your Feltyrosa's deck power for quite a lot. So usually turn 3, turn 4, you will always get 10k front row, except Vanguard, whether you're Persona or not. Now we'll go for the new cards that enable this move on turn 3, and that is Ortudo. So she says that at the end of the battle that she boosted, you can counterblast 1 and put the unit that was boosted in that attack to the soul, and you draw 1 card. So by putting in Feltyrosa, your Vanguard's ability activate and your front row will gain 10k. And you can do this on turn 3. Just put in any Feltyrosa and it will do the trick against 10k in the front row. So we'll move on to what the deck wants to do. So with Feltyrosa, the old problem is that all of your rear guards goes to the bottom of the deck after they attack in order to make empty rear guard circle, because Feltyrosa can only call to empty rear guard circle. So what it does is it makes you ghost minus, right? So you put 1 card from hand to field, it attacks, goes to bottom, and your drive check calls again, end of battle goes to bottom again. So you minus hard from playing Feltyrosa. Now Ortudo fixed this by sending them to the souls to draw 1 card. So what the deck wants to do is to make at least 1 column. Better if you can go for 2 columns of Ortudo, and we swing with anything. Counterblast 1 goes to soul, draw 1. So that's a refund, and you go with Feltyrosa swings. And if you drive check Ingrid, then you can call Ingrid, and Ingrid's skill will activate. It will restand the rear guard in the same column, and you can swing again. And Ortudo is not once per turn, so you can use your skill again, put Ingrid to soul, you draw another card. So we will use her a lot because that's how the deck plays. Now let's talk a bit about what to call in this deck, right? Because when you drive check, you want your check to be effective, right? So first of all is of course Ingrid. We're bringing Ingrid because she restands the back row rear guard, and now with restanding you get another draw, so that's another plus. And she also counter charge when called from anything other than hand, so it means this is a free draw because your counterblast is counter charged by Ingrid. Now, another card that we use is the new cards, Roswitha, and her effects is kind of similar with Ingrid in that when she's called from other than from your hand, and she will stand the rear guard in the same column. So same idea, restanding or tooth to gain another draw. But she doesn't counter charge, but she gets 5k when placed from other than hand and another 5k on attack. So that's already 18, 28. Feltyrosa's effect will give you another 10k, so that's 38. And if you persona, that means it goes to 48, quite big. So this is the core of her deck. What you want to do is basically just swing, goes to soul draw 1, swing, goes to soul draw 1, Vanguard swing, hopefully you get an Ingrid, you stand, or you get a Roswitha, you stand, then you swing again, goes to soul draw 1, you swing again, goes to soul draw 1. Like, that's the best situation that you can get. But it will burn your counterblast, so please do worry about that. Now, because Feltyrosa ability is locked behind her counterblast ability, unlike the old Feltyrosa, where with the old Feltyrosa you can just swing, then drive check. Let's say you get a ghost, then you can call, but you don't have to pay the counterblast to call the ghost. You pay the counterblast to gain the drive. But with the new Feltyrosa, you actually have to pay the counterblast on the main phase in order for her to gain the ability to call the ghost unit. That means that you have to adjust your counterblast. You have to manage your counterblast. Otherwise, on the next turn, you might not be able to activate her effects. So that's how the deck plays. We'll move on to the core of decks. So before going to the right line, we'll go with what we definitely need for deck. So we're going to need 4 Orchid. This is the heart of the decks. Without her, you're going to have a hard time because your hand will just dwindle along the way. So we're playing 4 of the draw cards. We're playing 4 Ingrids. So, like I mentioned earlier, Ingrid can restand Orchid and they can swing again and she can activate again to draw 1, and she also counter charge 1. So that's another draw for you. Then we're running 3 of Roswitha. So she accomplished the same role as Ingrid, but she doesn't counter charge. And what's good about her is that her goes to bottom ability is not mandatory. So on attack you can make her gains 5k. If she gains 5k, she goes to bottom. But if she don't, then she stays on the field. We're only running 3 right now. I feel like 4 is too much because on your hand she doesn't do anything. And this next, rather than grade 2 or grade 3, I think you need grade 1 more for decks, simply because your front row will be filled with Feltyrosa's effect, and most of them restands the back row rear guard. So we need a back row rear guard to stand, right? And 4 is too few to stand. Next, we're playing for Litorinde. So before playtesting, I didn't think I'm going to use Litorinde. So what she do is that on place, rear guard circle, soul blast 1, call a normal ghost unit, a normal unit ghost, a ghost normal unit, a ghost normal unit to your open rear guard circle. But she needs the grade 3 Feltyrosa name to activate, so that means that on grade 2 you cannot use her ability. So I feel that she's kinda a slow card, but after playtesting I realized that you really need Ditrinde, because this means that she's your another 4 copy of Ingrid, because you can use her skill, then you soul blast the Ingrid that goes to soul due to Orchard skill. So it appears again, reset Orchard, then you get another draw. So really the core of her deck are Ingrid and Orchard. This fulfill the same role as Ingrid, and Ditlinde is a +1. So you can revive Ingrid to get another draw. You can revive Orchard to make your field a little bit better, and afterward use Orchard to make Ditlinde goes to Swan draw 1. So this is the core of the decks. Now for grade 3s, of course we're going to run the Persona. And then we're bringing 2 of the old Feltyrosa. So I've seen people running 3. I think 3 is too much, while Feltyrosa, the new Feltyrosa can actually call a grade 3 Feltyrosa when drive check. So you can actually call them to Regard Circle, but they doesn't gain the power boost from Feltyrosa Vanguard ability. So yeah, I think 5 is sufficient, because you actually dig through your deck quite hard. You draw 1, then if your drive check goes, you call and you gain another drive check. So it's quite easy to gain a Persona, to secure a Persona on your hand for next turn. 6 might be 6 Feltyrosa might be too much, except you're bringing Bettina, the great one that can put Feltyrosa from drop to soul, and even then I don't think it justify bringing more grade 3s to the deck. So this is the core of decks. I think these slots cannot be changed with other cards. You can add, of course, more Roswitha, more Feltyrosa, but I think you cannot reduce these cards from your decks, because the deck just stopped working otherwise. And for the other cores, we're bringing 4 of the Ghost Perfect Guard. So we're bringing 4 and not Elementaria Sanctitude, simply because when you want to close the game and you check her, then you can call her to the Regard Circle. That's it. And then we're bringing the Lyrical Monasterio Overtrigger. So there are many options now, right? We have the Olbaria, the trial deck Overtrigger. Doesn't really do much in this deck, because your front row will be empty. You put 100 million to the back row, and you don't even know if it will stand or not. So doesn't really give you the push that it needs. Now the red Overtrigger that many people favors right now also doesn't work with Feltyrosa, because it says that if all of your units are rested, then choose one. Not choose one, sorry. Call one from hand. But if there's a stand unit, you have to choose that stand unit, and it gains the ability to restand after its attack. So what's the problem with the red OT in Feltyrosa? Let's say that you're in a situation where you have no stand units, then you trigger the OT, you give it to, you call cards from hand, right? But that defeats the purpose of Feltyrosa, because you need empty Regard Circle to call unit from her skill. So you've just shut down one of her skill. Like, you can actually call from top decks, not from hand. Yeah, but it's just miss synergy. Then the second effect, that is choose one of your standing rear guards and restand after attacks, also is not fit with Feltyrosa because 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 of your front row rear guards goes to the bottom of your deck at the end of their battle, and that's a mandatory effect. So you give the red OT to Ingrid. Ingrid attacks, she goes to bottom before she restands. Yeah, so basically just bad synergy. And then there's the blue overtrigger that gives you a crit and add one card from your drop zone to hand, right? So for the blue OT, adding back Perfect Guard or Persona is of course a nice thing, but it doesn't outweigh the powerful ability of the original Ridicule Monasterio Overtrigger and also the crits, right? Because you swing with rear guard, goes to bottom, you swing with rear guard, goes to bottom, then you swing with Vanguard. You gain crit. Your Vanguard is PG, then the crit doesn't even matter. So I think the best one is still the original OT of Lyrical Monasterio, because that means now all on Persona turn, your front row gains plus 30k. Yeah, that's just huge. Anytime you check this, it's just failure. Except when you check OT and crit, and yeah, that stops the game. But that's Feltyrosa, so yeah. For triggers, we're going to run 4 of the Ghost Heal, and we're going to run 4 draws, and I think this is going to be quite controversial because like people are running 8 crits, I think, and that's also quite good because like Feltyrosa attacks, you make her 2 pass, then you just give everything to Vanguard because you have 4 drive, right? But the deck badly needs units because every turn all of your unit either goes to soul or goes to bottom, so you need the draw to gain either Ingrid or Detlinde, any units actually, just for you to play next turn. Otherwise, you won't have enough unit to even play the basic field of Feltyrosa. So I'm opting to run 4 draws because we need units in this deck. And then we're just running 4 of the crit effect. Doesn't need to use this one. You can also use the vanilla crits, and we're bringing in total of 7 crits. So 7 crits, 4 draw, 4 heal, 1 OT. And this is the core of the decks, and now we still have 6 slots to fill, and this is my choice. This is free slots, and many people are not using the cards that I choose, but I think, in my opinion, this is the way to run Feltyrosa. While I haven't actually topped anything, so please do take it with a grain of salt. So I'm running 4 of Hermina. So this rarely see plays. So what Hermina does is that on place rear guard circle, if you have another ghost in your rear guard, you can choose one of your rear guard. It gains 5k. So I'm going to explain how to use Hermina when we're playtesting with the right lines, but basically the 5k that she gives really helps with your game plan on the early turns of turn 1, turn 2, up to turn 3. And even if you drive check her, she's still a 13k attacker. And with Feltyrosa, that's 23. On Persona, that's 33. Still quite good. Even if we revive her with Ditlinde, you can still choose 5k to Ditlinde and she becomes 15. 25 with Feltyrosa, 35 on a Persona turn. This will be I think this will be a controversial choice. People don't usually run this. And for the last 2 slots, I'm running Anzelma. So the last 2 slots really gives me a headache because like there are so many options that you can use for the last 2 cards. But in the end, I think that the draw from her, so she says that on the break row rearguard circle, if you call a rearguard on during battle phase, you can soul blast 2 to draw 1. And this deck have so many souls, and to convert it to another draw is quite a good failure. And we just need the great ones, I think, because running another grade 2 or grade 3 doesn't really help creating your field. So for other options, you can choose to play Eleanor, Bettina, or the new Ghost, the new grade 3 Ghost. The cycle card that can banish your over trigger on your drop zone. And this is the other ghost that you can opt to bring. So let's talk about each of them. First of all, Eleanor. Eleanor says that when she attacks, you can soul blast 2, gains 15k. The end of the battle goes to the top deck. What makes her good is that she's a 25k, 35 with Feltyrosa, 45 on Persona unboosted. And she makes your top deck a definite ghost unit, so you will definitely check her again. And you can use her skill again. Actually, full blasting 4 is not hard on this deck. So you will swing 45, Vanguard swing, calls her again, swings for 45, boosted by 8k, that's 53. Quite little on Feltyrosa, but her problem is during the early turn, if you use her skill to bounce her to top deck, that means that it makes you harder to dig through your decks. And worst case scenario, you swing using her skill, she goes to top deck, and you end your turn, then this will be your damage. I just feel that on the early turns, she doesn't do anything. And I've tested like these 2 slots for Eleanor, and even then, Feltyrosa have problems surviving till turn 4 because we kill on turn 4. And even without using Eleanor, Feltyrosa still have a good enough kill turn. So yeah, we'll have to wait for further playtesting, and let's see if we actually need this card. Second option is Bettina. So you switch out Hermina with Bettina. What Bettina do is that when another ghost unit comes in the same column as her, you can put one Feltyrosa from your drop to soul. So what she basically do is you discard your Feltyrosa for right line, you call another ghost, put Feltyrosa grade 3 to soul, and your Feltyrosa will be live on turn 3, the 10k. Well, it also it's another consistency engine. So that means that you have 8 copies of cards that can put Feltyrosa to soul. But in my opinion, you don't really need to put... There's no urgency to put Feltyrosa to soul on turn 3. Especially going first, so most of the time she will be dead weight. Especially if you don't have any way to use your soul, she doesn't really do anything. Now for the third option, this is the grade 3 ghost, Adelheid. What she does is, if your opponent check a damage trigger or a trigger in their drive check, she gains 10k and shield plus 10k. On attack when boosted, at the end of the battle, soul blast 1, you put back the cards that boosted this unit to your hand. So basically a front row Yuika, if that makes sense. And also if you have a over trigger or drop zone, you can bind it to call one card from hand. How to say this? Like, she gives you another little. You can actually recycle your PG with her. Like, so you have Adelheid, you have Ditlinde. Ditlinde's skill revive PG behind Adelheid. Adelheid attack, then you bounce the PG back to your hand. That's a move. And then you can like swing, goes to bottom, swing, bind the OT, call another one. Then this swings, goes to bottom, then Feltyrosa swings. And you can actually restand her because her back row will be empty. So calling Ingrid or Rosita behind her actually will stand her and she can swing for another attack. So she's definitely a good card. But after some playtesting, I feel like there will be too many grade 3s if you're running Adelheid, because we're already playing 5. Probably will take these slots, and that will be 7 grade 3s, then 4 Ingrid, that's 12, right? I'm 4, 6, 8, yes, 11 actually, sorry, 11 grade 3s, and that just doesn't sit right with me, especially with how hard it is to gain advantage in this deck. You will be unable to guard properly if you're running Adelheid, I think. So that's the option that you can consider to bring to your deck. Adelheid is a strong contender, then Eleanor, then Bettina. You can actually also use Yuika on this deck because she empties your front row. Yeah. One is that Yuika is not a ghost. 2 is Yuika is quite expensive. So yeah, I'm opting to use full ghost on this build of Feltyrosa. Now we go to the right line. People usually use Willy Star right line, so you put one of her order on your deck and use grade 1, grade 2 Willy Star. But I'm running Feltyrosa right line, so grade 0 Feltyrosa, grade 1 Feltyrosa, and on grade 2 we're running the Astesize Kiora, and we're running the new Feltyrosa. So why are we choosing this lineup? The reason I'm choosing the grade 2 Feltyrosa is that going first doesn't really matter. She doesn't give big value compared to Willistar Line, because Willistar Line can actually just shove Feltyrosa grade 3 to soul from hand and grab the order. That's another good part about the Feltyrosa line. But my favorite part of using the Feltyrosa line is her going second ability, because going second, so we write Feltyrosa and we call a great one, then we call Hermina. Now this is why I'm playing Hermina. Hermina's skill says that she can give one of my regards 5k. Then Feltyrosa's skill says that if I have ghost regards, she will gain 2k. This means that going second, I'm swinging with 13k and 18k. So that means I'm asking you to guard with 10k, and if you no guard and gain a damage trigger, the Vanguard attack still goes through. This is my favorite part of Feltyrosa grade 1, the 2k. This enables you to put in quite a pressure on your opponents, especially this 5k, right? Because if you just swing wing 8 and 18, 8 will be guarded with 5k, then 18 will just be no guarded. But because this is now a 13k, it makes your guarding the attacks a little bit harder. And then people will say, but your rear guards will get attacked and you lose your rear guards, right? And then you go to grade 2, right? You go to grade 2. Then the grade 1 Feltyrosa's effect says that if this card is written by another card, you can Soul Blast one and put one of your ghosts back to hand. So that means the regret that was attacked can just be easily brought back using the grade 1 Feltyrosa. And also you can recycle triggers, like you can guard with 15k, right to grade 2, bring back the 15k shield. That's also an option. But really, this deck needs so many combo pieces and need the early aggression, and that's why I'm bringing the grade 1 Feltyrosa, because you can go 2 line on turn 1 and recover the rear guards to hold them again. Now the reason we're playing Astesize Kiora is because going first we just write Feltyrosa, and we write Kiora. Feltyrosa skill Soul Blast 1 to bring back another ghost. And what she can do is actually the same with the going second move, right? So this gains 5k, this swings for 13. Going first, attacking 13 still hurts because your opponent still have to guard with 10k or more. Then we swing with Kiora. This is 18. That means your opponent still goes through damage trigger, right? Then on attack skill, bounce this back to hand. So you can preserve your units with these right lines. So you still have the early aggression, but you can recover those units that you use for early aggression quite easily using these right decks. So that's the reason of me playing Kiora, and the reason why we're playing Hermina, because I feel like this gives off a good synergy overall. Let's move on to what you want to do, how the game flows, right? So let's just give it a little bit of shuffle. Going first and going second is really different in Feltyrosa. So let's try going first. So for mulligans, you want Outlinde, and keeping one perfect guard is quite fine in this deck. And any Feltyrosa that you find, you definitely have to keep. Anything other than that can go to bottom. Actually, if you got a great one, definitely keep it, because Feltyrosa, in my opinion, need 2 great ones to function well on her first 2 turns. So let's say we're going first, right? We're going to draw. Not quite a good hand, because this is a dead card until turn 3. So we're going to discard one of them to right, then pass our turn. Now, I usually prefer to no guard during the early turn, because Feltyrosa need counterblast, or Truth need counterblast. So let's say we no guard, heal trigger, Cardfight Vanguard, then goes our turn again, draw. I'm going to discard the draw trigger, writing the Kyora. Feltyrosa FX Hold plus 1. We'll take back the one that we discarded last turn. Now what we can do with this hand, actually I'm going to call Portrait here. So our opponent is on 8k, right? So we can just call a PG, I guess. This swings for 14. So we're asking for a 10k guard. Then Kyora just bounce the PG back to hand, and we drive check. And let's say we take another damage. Then goes our turn, then draw. Now, this is quite an interesting hand, because we don't have any other ghosts. So nothing can be revived off the Torinde. We have 2 Feltyrosa. We definitely want to save this one for Persona, but we can actually call this one, put this to soul, draw 1, in order to give some power boost to our rear guards on turn 3. So let's try that move. So we're discarding one Ditlinde. Ditlinde cannot revive herself, by the way. So that's the reason we don't play Ditlinde this turn. Never forget to use your Feltyrosa skill, because if you go to battle phase, you cannot use her skill anymore. We call one Feltyrosa here, and that's it. No need to overcommit. Swings for 21. End of battle, counterblast 1, goes to soul, draw 1. Now, Feltyrosa's skill says that if you have grade 3 Feltyrosa, your front row ghost unit will gain 10k, so this will all gain 10k. Then we just swing with Feltyrosa, Twin Drive, first check, Ingrid, really nice. Hold to rear guard circle, Feltyrosa skill gain 10k, Feltyrosa gain 1 drive, Ingrid skill, stand 1 of your rear guard in the same column, then counter charge 1. We go to the second check, Feltyrosa, and you can just call her, because we already have another Feltyrosa, but this one has 10k, so this is only 13. So I'm going to opt to not use Feltyrosa's skill. Then third check, draw trigger, we draw 1, give 10k to Ingrid. There's no need to go really aggressive on Feltyrosa, because your persona right will be quite little. The attacks are quite high. So then we move on. This swings. Ingrid gains 5k. That's 21, 40. This is 46 on turn 3. 46. And at the end of the battle, you can use her again. Control plus 1, goes to soul, and draw 1. And now, for a Feltyrosa deck, we have 10 cards in hands going first after great returns. I think that changed a lot about Feltyrosa, because I remember the day when I played the old Feltyrosa and going first my hand was only like 3 or 4. Now we can go to 10. Yeah. And let's say opponent's attack swings, we just take everything, right? And let's say we need to PG one of their attacks. So if you have Ingrid in hand, you don't really need to call her. Even better, you just discard her if you have Ditlinde. So let's say it's our turn again, stand and draw. We Persona, right? And front row against 10k. Now that's a good card. We call Anselma. So Anselma, better put her behind Vanguard. But if you put her here, then what need to go here is an Ingrid, because this makes power line, right? This doesn't really make sense. So put your grade 3 here. But for now, we'll put here behind Vanguard. And there's a reason why we need to put something behind Vanguard, because otherwise Feltyrosa's power will be too low. Yeah, she just swings 13 and 23 on Persona. That's why you need something to boost her. Never forget to use your Feltyrosa skill. And then in this situation, I'm going to use Ditlinde, Soul Blasting 1, and Call 1. Now, what this do is this will give you counter charts. Unfortunately, we don't have any other great ones, so we'll just swing these swings for Feltyrosa's skill. We have Feltyrosa grade 3, so this is 20k to the front row. That's quite big. 30k to Vanguard, goes to bottom at the end of battle. This swings, gains another 5k, so that's 46. End of battle, counterblast 1, goes to soul and draw 1. Then your Feltyrosa will swing, and we go twin drive. That's a ghost. Never put something in front of Portrait other than Ingrid or Roswitha, because there's a potential to stand her and gives you another draw. So put her here. Her ability activates, give one rear guard 5k. Her ability activates, Soul Blasting 2 cards to draw 1. Second check. That's a ghost, Ditlinde. So what you can do, if you put her here, it doesn't really give you many advantage, right? This is only 30k. So you can actually put her behind with the new Feltyrosa. You don't really need to call on the front row. You can call on the back row also. So use her skill, Soul Blast 1, revive an Ingrid skill, stand this, give you another counter charge. And we still have to drive. Nothing. Then you can swing with this. This is 33. This is another 46. And her skill, counter plus 1, goes to soul, draw 1. And now we've just draw how many cards? 2 from Drum Check, twice from her. Yeah. Not 1 from Anselma. So we've just draw 3 cards actually in this turn. And yeah, that's quite good. And then you just PG everything. If you don't have PG, then well, what can you say, right? You just guard your whole hands. And it's our turn again. You just Persona again. So definitely gives priority to Persona, because Feltyrosa's Persona turns means that you gain 20k boost for the front row. So like if you have the new Feltyrosa on hand on turn 3, don't put her to soul because it's better to just persona next turn. So we've just switched this using Feltyrosa's skill, never forget. And in this situation, we can actually do something like this. So call over the Ditlinde, Soul Blessing 1, calls the Ingrid, and Ingrid give you another counter charge. And if you want to draw more cards, you can call her here. Then we just swing. Counter Blast, Soul, draw 1. You swing, Counter Blast, goes to Soul, draw 1. And Vanguard just swing. In Twin Drive, draw trigger, we draw 1. Power to back rows. That's a ghost. Let's call her. Using Anselma's skill, Soul Blast 2, draw 1. Then another drive check, critical trigger, everything to this burger. This will happen a lot, by the way, playing Feltyrosa, that is getting a suboptimal field, but because of the new Feltyrosa, like even in this suboptimal situation, this still swings for 38, and that's big. So that's how the deck kinda works. Never forget to utilize our truth as much as possible, but do keep in mind about how many counter blasts you're going to have, because you need at least one counter blast to activate Feltyrosa and gains the potential of 5 attacks during the next turn. Going second will be quite different, because in my opinion, I want my opponent to be at 2 to 3 damage going on turn 3. So let's give it a test run. Going second, put your triggers back, put your PG back. You definitely want 2 great ones going second. Not bad. So let's say we go second, draw. Going to discard the draw triggers to write Feltyrosa. Going second, we draw 1. That's actually not a good draw, because this way we don't have anything we can pick up with the red 1 right lines, but we need this rush. 8k, 18, drive check. That's a ghost. Then let's say we opponent goes to grid 2, just swings to Vanguard, no guard. And we stand and draw. That's a really nice one. Discard Ingrid to write Kiora. Use Feltyrosa's skill, Soul Blast 1 to bring back the Ingrid. This goes to back. Yeah, just call a trigger. That's 12. That's 18. This goes back to hand. You drive check. And you just take damage. Draw trigger, nice. Crit trigger, nice. And let's say we take another one. That's heal. Really nice damage. And we take our turn. Stand and draw. So in this situation, like you have so many Ingrids in your hand, you just discard it for a right cost. Right Feltyrosa, right? Feltyrosa's skill counter blast 1. She gains effect. And now we call Feltyrosa. We want the 10k pump because we're going second, so we need the extra push here. And for me, I'm not going to really do anything further. We just aim for 4 swings. Overextending with Feltyrosa will make you have difficulty with card in hands. So yeah, we're just going to do this. Then Feltyrosa swings. That's a Feltyrosa. Now we have too many Feltyrosa in hand, so we just call her and we just hope for a trigger on the drive check. That's an OT, really nice. Give power to Feltyrosa. And one more check. That's a ghost. We can call her. 5k to herself. And last check is a critical trigger. Give crit to Feltyrosa, power to Hermina. And just swing. And opponent goes hard. No guard. We don't have any PG. Probably won't be able to survive in like real games. But let's just say we use all of our shield and manage to survive, right? For the sake of video, and we just stand and draw. The persona. Front row gains 20k. Actually 10k because this is not a ghost. Now, this Feltyrosa doesn't really do anything anymore. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to call over her with Detrinde, Soul Blasting 1 to revive a ghost unit. I'm going to revive an Ingrid, giving you the counter charge, and you control blast for Feltyrosa's effect. And then we just go from here. This is already a 30k, so 30k to feed. Actually with OT everything gains 10k, and this is the reason why lyrical OT is quite strong on lyrical monasterio, because not on Feltyrosa, because your front row will keeps popping off, right? If you want to finish it off, you can call her, give 5k here, or give 5k on Orchid, because she can resistance if you call something here. You can also give 5k here, making it 45, harder to guard. But yeah. This swing goes to bottom. This swings, counter blast 1, goes to soul, draw 1. Vanguard just swing, and we go twin drive. That's an Ingrid, that's a stand, that's a counter charge. We get a critical trigger, all to Ingrid. We get a heal trigger, all to Ingrid. Then Ingrid can just swing again, and Orchard will give you another draw. Yeah, that's basically how the deck plays. So you draw as much as possible using Orchard and Ingrid's combo, but you can also call Roswitha to restand her again. Like for this whole playtest, we don't really see Roswitha, but Roswitha is just a way to increase your consistency. But when she goes to your hand, she doesn't really do anything, and that's why we're only running 3 of her copies. So I guess that's it for the playtest. So to sum it up, the new Feltyrosa gives you the power that it badly needs. Like every turn will be something like the old Persona turn, but if you Persona, you gain another 10k, that means 20k to the front row. And you just swings 5 times with 20k boost on your rear guard, and that's quite good. And due to the new support that is Ortrinde, we can actually loop her draw using Ingrid, Detrinde, and the other new cards, and that's it. That is Roswitha. So we can stand her again to draw as many cards as possible. And then the one thing that make my deck differs with the other build is probably this Hermina. Getting Hermina turn 1, turn 2 will change your tempo a lot, and that's why I'm bringing 4 of her. I know not many people use her, but I think she's the piece that Feltyrosa needs to make her more little and more consistent. And that's it for the deck profile from me today. Please do comment about your Feltyrosa build, or if you have any question, or if you have any suggestion. Definitely not the best Feltyrosa player here, so I'm really open to suggestion. And I think that's it for the video today. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Bye bye.